Hi, welcome to Manas Sheila YouTube channel. Before we start, kindly subscribe to my YouTube channel. Thank you. Let's start the video. If you haven't watched the previous video, I'll link it in the description box, or you can click here. Tensura Volume 19. Chapter 4. The Gathering of the Giants. Rimuru's backup. As I faced Michael, I was in the biggest pinch of my life. I felt like I was always in these kinds of situations, but this time it was for real. Michael's unexplainable attack had defeated even Diablo, and there was nothing I could do about it, to be honest. The only reason I could afford to be like this was because Vildora was waiting for me in the labyrinth. As long as Vildora was safe, I could be resurrected. More importantly, are things really okay? Not a problem, but if you're worried, you just have to not lose. You're right about that. Seal-san's argument was so correct that it was difficult to respond to it. If I could do that in the first place, I wouldn't have any troubles at all, which is why I'm worried and anxious. It's okay. I wondered if something like this might happen, so I have already taken steps to deal with this situation. Will you take immediate action? Hey, what? I haven't heard anything, but you've already taken action. I don't know why you're trying to deceive me, or rather, you can't deceive me, so you're doing it on purpose. Apologies. Well then, while we're at it, you would like to activate emergency response mode. When you say, you would instead of would you, I'm guessing that means you're ready to activate it. Well, that's fine. It's Seal-san, so things won't go bad. Apparently, there was a way out of this, and I'd like to think that there was still some hope. I will do my best to meet your expectations. Perhaps realizing that I was convinced, Seal-san's motivation seemed to have been ignited. I had no idea how this would affect it. If so, I should just take action instead of worrying. There's no other answer anyway. In that case, let's just attack. It wasn't that I was going to give up and try my best until the end, but rather that I was feeling quite at ease. I would do everything I could with the intention of gathering information for the next battle. I didn't want this experience to go to waste, even if I had to throw it away. I was risking my life, and I wanted to get as much useful information as I could out of it. With that in mind, I readied my sword. But it seems that I was too naive. I commend you for not despairing. However, you are no match for me. The moment I heard Michael's supercilious remark, I stopped moving. No, it wasn't just me who stopped. The whole world had stopped. I remember this feeling. I knew it. What? As seen with the attacks that defeated Diablo, Sae, and Leon earlier, this phenomenon is the same as the one that Geek Crimson and Chloe Albert once activated. Could it be that the deja vu pattern I experienced was the correct answer? That's correct. This is definitely a time stop. Ha! We can't win like that. That's a foul. It may be acceptable in manga or anime, but in real life, that's just shocking. Those who cannot reach the suspended world are no match for those who can, no matter how strong they are. It seems that I was right in recognizing that. In fact, there was nothing I could do. Well, of course Diablo would lose. I thought I could never imagine him losing, but I guess it's inevitable when the enemy can stop time. Yup, time to disband. Already, I have honestly accepted my defeat. Time has already stopped now, right? How are we even having this conversation? Thanks to the emergency response mode, we can now recognize the suspended world. Seriously. As expected of Seal-sensei. The report was a bit smug, but I can forgive it now. Rather, I'm very grateful. I was relieved to know that things were going to work out, but it seems that I was mistaken. It was only when I saw that Michael's sword was approaching that I realized it. I rushed to deal with it, but my body would not react at all. Being able to recognize the suspended world did not mean that I could move in it, which, when I thought about it, was only natural. I thought I would be able to do something, because Seal-san was so smug. Well, I didn't manage to do anything about it in the first place, so it wasn't my place to complain. It was a bit of a blessing in disguise, but oh well. Even if I gave up and let Michael cut me down, I would at least like to remember his sword line and fighting habits for the next time. No, it's too early to give up. I was about to give up, but Seal-san calmed me down. And in the next moment, I felt that a clear sound was echoing in my ears. I remembered this sound, and I even felt a sense of familiarity. At that time, it was definitely Rimuru-sensei, I'm here to help. That's right, it was Chloe. While I was helpless against Michael's sword, her long black and silver hair swept in front of me, as if it were scattering silver light around me. In her hand was the Moonlight Goddess sword, Moon Mistress, and she was cloaked in divine spirit armor. The Moonlight Saber and the Holy Spirit armor entrusted to her by Hinata had undergone a long journey to reach the mythical grade level. The wielder was, of course, the beautifully grown hero Chloe. Well, Chloe had come, but I still remained motionless. In other words, it was impossible to reply to her. No problem. It turns out that information particles are unaffected by time or space, and can transmit information to any point in time. This means that they can transmit thoughts even in a suspended world. Is that so? The conversation between me and Seal-san was happening instantly. However, the voice I heard from Chloe had a slight time difference. The reason for this remained unknown though, right? If the information particle was unaffected by time and space, then wouldn't it make sense that communication would be instantaneous as well? I am a part of Master, so I am not affected by time at all. However, if you want to know what's going on outside in the suspended world, an information particle needs to be flown out to grasp the information of the surroundings. That's hard to explain. In short, the information particle is not affected by space-time, so it can move in any situation. That's why, by interfering with the information particle as a substitute for magicules, you can maintain your vision and transmit your thoughts. In other words, interfering with the information particle was not enough to move in this situation. Chloe seemed to be talking normally, but I guess we shouldn't confuse her with the real world. I thought that she was using thought acceleration, but it seems that this was not the case. Apparently, we were just exchanging information particles with no time lag, and it was possible because we shared the same soul. In that case, if I wanted to communicate my intent to a third party in this suspended world, you can put your intention on the information particle and hit the other person. This may sound rough, but I understood it well. Seal-san could now interfere with the information particle, so it's possible to reply. In the first place, the reason why I could see what was going on around me now was because I was reflecting the information particles. I wondered whether or not the speed of the information particles was constant in this suspended world, but I was glad to hear that the conversation was established. Sorry, you saved me. But I don't seem to be able to move yet, so I immediately sent my intent to Chloe. Then Chloe responded with telepathy net to match me. Yeah, I know. Rather, you can use telepathy net now, can't you? Well, sort of. That's right, Rimuru-san has Seal with him. It's no wonder he can do this. Oh, so Chloe knows Seal-san too. Yes. Through Chrono, my existence was revealed. That's why she secretly took on the role of an escort, this time. Ah, that made sense. So that was the trump card that Seal-san was hiding. Or rather, if it had gone this far, it must have guessed that things were too dangerous. Yes. I hadn't been able to fully determine the enemy's objective, but I was certain that they were targeting Masayuki Hanju. Similarly, I guessed that Master was also a likely target. Ho ho, so you're saying that I was used as bait. That was a rare decision for Seal-san, who always played things too safe. Huh. Are you saying that the double check from that time? Yes. It was a metaphor for Michael, who thought he had the upper hand on Master. Damn it, I've been beaten. I'm ashamed that I didn't notice. At that time, it felt like Seal-san was stalling. My answer was not wrong, but it was not right either. It was because I wasn't sure whether to point it out or not. I thought that Michael would naturally assume that Master would go to Leon to bring him back to his senses. In that case, it was expected that he would use Leon as bait, so I wondered how much importance Michael would place on this, and how much force he would put into it. So that's how it was. No, it made sense when you thought about it. I had already brought Velgrin back to her senses. Michael and Feldway were not so stupid as to think that Velgrin had come back on her own. It turned out that my thinking had been too shallow. Michael would have been wary of us getting Leon back, and would have done something about it. Rather than worrying about Leon, he thought of a way to take advantage of the situation. In other words, Michael's plan was to use Leon as bait to lure me out. And Seal-san had planned this plan in anticipation of that. There was no room for me to intervene. It may sound simple when explained, but both of them had been thinking 2 or 3 moves ahead, and even the slightest deviation in the course of events could have led to a catastrophic failure. No, perhaps that was why. If I hadn't come here, Michael would have taken a different approach, so it was easier for Seal-san to read the situation by pretending to be fooled. My safety is guaranteed when Valdora is around, so it decided that it would be better for me to go along with Michael's plan. Yes. Of course, Master's safety was given the utmost consideration. I'm sure it was. It's scary that it was all going according to plan, but what even Seal-san didn't calculate was that Michael also had the time stop ability. That was also considered as a possibility, so I negotiated with Chloe Albert and asked her to be on standby, just in case. I see, so you guessed that Chloe would not enter the battle. But because Mekel was too strong, I ended up being saved by Chloe. Even Seal-san couldn't foresee the situation, so there was nothing for me to do. Mekel's ability to handle time stop was the biggest miscalculation. However, it turned out to be a good thing in the end. Why is that? Because there are very few people who can handle this ability. It is a very valuable experience. It was fortuitous that we succeeded in developing the emergency response mode. If we observe the suspended world in this way, it will only be a matter of time before we are able to move. That confidence is as strong as ever. It was only a matter of time, so I guess it was a losing battle to argue while time was stopped. I feel like I'll be judged otherwise, so I'll just praise you for this. The question was whether I could actually move when time was stopped. If I couldn't do that, there would be no talking about it in the future, so it was our urgent task to solve this problem. For now, I had to rely on Chloe. At any rate, there was nothing I could do right now. In all seriousness, I've decided to wait and see how the battle between Chloe and Mekel goes. Mekel did not move, perhaps because he was wary of Chloe's appearance. But finally, he lifted the sword in his right hand with a swing motion. To be honest, it's hard to believe that something so unexpected happened. Is that so? I didn't realize that there were others besides Valzard and I who could move in this stop time. Aside from Amanas, the ultimate being like me, I don't know how you could have reached this realm. Whoa, Mekel himself said the word Manas just now. Was this a trick? If Chloe reacted, he seemed to be hoping to get closer to her true identity. I was a little worried and thought about advising Chloe, but there was no need. Is that so? It was surprisingly easy. Chloe just brushed it off. Seeing her response made me remember. Although I couldn't help but think of her as my own student, Chloe was a great warrior in her own right. After a long journey through time, she had reigned as the strongest hero. She also had Imanas named Krana, so I didn't have to worry about her. Stop laughing. The Hulk King serial response has disappeared from you. Are you willing to answer why? Ah, I knew it. I had thought that Mekel might be able to detect the angelic ultimate skills, but now it was confirmed. And the fact that the response was gone meant that Chloe had successfully sublimated the Hope King serial and turned it into her power. I didn't even need to help her. It's very disappointing. I suppose it is. To the Skullmaniac Seal-san, Chloe's skill must have been drool-worthy. If it had been able to find out the secret, we would have been able to move in the suspended world by now. No, rather than Chloe being stingy, I think Seal-san was too much of a fell. Is there any reason for me to tell you that? No, not really. Mekel didn't seem to be expecting an answer either and silently repositioned his sword. In that case, I must eliminate the uncertainty. I agree. I'll make you regret making me your enemy. After that conversation, the battle between Chloe and Mekel began. The battle was, in a word, tremendous. As it turned out while watching the battle, the speed of the information particle was constant. Conversation had been established, and the reaction speed of vision was also constant. This was as clear, physical phenomenon as the fact that all things cannot exceed the speed of light. In that case, why did the information particles exceed the speed of light? This was not a matter of the speed being exceeded. It was as if the information particles, which were supposed to be at different coordinates, were transferring information to each other with zero time difference. Regardless of how far they were from each other, as long as the information particles existed in the recognizable space, there was no time difference. In other words, an information particle transcended time and space. Our communication had also been established by using the information transfer between information particles. In that case, how can one move? Could it possibly be? If it is a spiritual life form, then they must have transformed all matter into information particles, thereby resulting in a digital life form. I knew it. Assuming that the mind and spirit are also information, it's not impossible. Whether it could be done or not was another matter, but it is significant that there was an answer there. I should have eliminated the thought I couldn't do it, and instead concentrated on how I could get there. You're right. We'll make the emergency response mode even more fully operational, and aim to evolve into a digital life form. Is that okay? Of course, Seal-kun. I'll leave it all to you, so please do as you like. That's what I profusely ordered. Because nothing could be done if we didn't, and if there was a possible countermeasure, we should try everything. Seal-san understood my intentions correctly and energetically started its activities. All that remained was to wait for the results. I was still concerned about the fact that I was leaving everything to others, but it couldn't be helped anymore. I made up my mind and focused on the battle between Chloe and Mekel. Thank you for watching. Hope you enjoy it.